Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 3 a.m., heart racing, wondering why sleep just won't come back? It's a quiet struggle many seniors face, waking up in the middle of the night and feeling alone with restless thoughts. You might think, well, that's just part of getting older. But what if it's not? What if those restless nights are trying to tell you something more important, something you shouldn't ignore? It's easy to brush it off as just aging, yet this little moment of wakefulness could be a hidden warning sign affecting your health in ways you never expected. In this video, we're going to explore why waking up at 3 a.m. happens so often in later years and reveal the surprising risks behind it. By the end, I'll share simple habits that can help you sleep better and protect your well-being, because peaceful nights matter, no matter your age. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Have you ever noticed how the night seems longest between 2 and 4 in the morning? It's a time when the world outside is hushed and dark, and all the little noises in your home seem to echo a little louder. Maybe you find yourself waking up around 3 a.m., not just once in a while, but often, almost as if your internal clock is set to it. You might lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the slow seconds, feeling your mind race with half-remembered dreams or tomorrow's worries. Perhaps you hear the gentle snoring of your partner, the distant hum of a refrigerator, or the soft tick of a bedside clock. For many older adults, this experience is so common that it's easy to believe it's just an ordinary part of getting older, something to be endured, not questioned. But let's pause for a moment and ask, does it have to be this way? Is waking up at 3 a.m. truly just a normal part of aging? Or is there something deeper at play? Something that, if understood, could make your nights more restful and your days brighter? To answer this, we need to look at what happens in our bodies and minds as we age, and why these quiet early morning hours seem to be a universal stumbling block for sleep. First, let's talk about how sleep itself changes as we get older. When we're young, sleep often comes easily. We might fall into bed after a long day and wake up 8 hours later, barely remembering a thing. But as the years go by, our relationship with sleep transforms. Scientists have found that one of the biggest changes is in the production of melatonin, the hormone that tells your brain it's time to rest. Melatonin levels start to drop in our 50s and 60s, and by the time we reach our golden years, they can be much lower than before. Without as much melatonin, it becomes harder to fall asleep, and even more frustratingly, to stay asleep. But melatonin isn't the only piece of the puzzle. The architecture of sleep, meaning the way our sleep cycles unfold over the night, also changes. When you're younger, you typically cycle through different stages of sleep, including periods of deep, restorative sleep. These stages are essential for helping your body recover, strengthening your memory, and processing emotions. As we age, though, we spend less time in deep sleep and more time in lighter stages of sleep. This makes us much more sensitive to any little disturbance, whether it's a noise outside, a shift in temperature, or an ache in our knees. So, what is it about 3 a.m. in particular? Why do so many people, especially those over 65, find themselves staring at the ceiling at this hour? Science tells us that the first few hours after we fall asleep are usually the deepest, most restorative. But by around 3 a.m., the body enters a lighter phase of sleep. During this time, the brain is more easily awakened by physical discomfort, stress, or even a need to use the bathroom. If you track your sleep, you might notice a pattern. It's often between 2:30 and 4 a.m. that you're most likely to wake up. Let's dig deeper. Many health conditions that become more common as we age can also play a role. Take high blood pressure, for example. People with hypertension are more likely to experience restless sleep, as their bodies struggle to regulate blood flow and oxygen levels during the night. The same is true for heart problems, diabetes, or chronic pain conditions like arthritis or neuropathy. Even mild discomfort can wake you up when you're already sleeping lightly. Then there's the issue of nocturia, the medical term for needing to urinate at night. This is incredibly common among seniors and is one of the biggest reasons for waking up at 3 a.m. Our kidneys naturally slow down at night when we're younger, but with age, this system becomes less efficient. Add to that conditions like an enlarged prostate in men or an overactive bladder in women, and the chances of needing to get up during those precious early morning hours rise dramatically. Medications can be a hidden culprit as well. Most seniors take more than one prescription, often several, for a variety of health concerns. Some blood pressure medicines act as diuretics, increasing the urge to urinate. Others, like steroids or medications for asthma, can make it harder to stay asleep. Even some over-the-counter remedies for colds or allergies can interfere with your sleep patterns without you realizing it. But sleep isn't only about what's happening in your body. The mind has a powerful role to play as well. Waking up in the middle of the night can be unsettling, and once you're awake, it's easy to fall into a loop of worry or loneliness. You might think about old friends you haven't seen, family members you miss, or anxieties about your health or the future. Sometimes, it's not even a conscious worry. It's just a vague feeling of unease or restlessness that makes drifting off again feel impossible. And the more you stress about being awake, the more awake you become. This is what psychologists call the insomnia cycle, and it's especially cruel because the harder you try, the worse it seems to get. Here's something you might not have considered. Your sleep environment matters, too. As we get older, our senses become more sensitive, not less. A streetlight shining through the window, a television left on in another room, or a pet shifting at the foot of the bed can all be enough to pull you out of a shallow sleep. Even the gentle chime of a clock or the change in temperature as the heat or air conditioning cycles can make a difference. So, what can you do about it? The good news is that while some changes in sleep are part of aging, there's a lot you can do to help yourself get better rest, starting tonight. First, be gentle with yourself. If you wake up at 3 a.m., try not to panic or force yourself to sleep. Instead, focus on comfort. Make sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and at a comfortable temperature. Use blackout curtains if streetlights bother you, and try a white noise machine or a soft fan to mask little sounds. Keep your bedding clean and cozy. Even small touches can make you feel more relaxed. If you do wake up, avoid checking your phone or the clock, which can make you more anxious. Instead, try a simple breathing exercise. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 4, exhale for 4, and rest for 4. Repeat this a few times. It can calm your nervous system and make it easier to drift off again. Think about your evening routine, too. Try to limit caffeine and alcohol, especially in the hours before bed. Both can disrupt your sleep cycles in different ways. Avoid large meals right before bedtime, and try to get some gentle exercise earlier in the day. A walk around the neighborhood, some light stretching, or a few yoga poses can help your body settle down at night. If you find that you're getting up to use the bathroom every night, consider adjusting your fluid intake. Drink plenty of water during the day, but start cutting back in the evening, and make sure to use the bathroom right before bed. Talk to your doctor if you notice changes in your bladder habits or if your medications might be affecting your sleep. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. For many people, building a sleep ritual can make a big difference. This could be as simple as reading a few pages of a book, listening to calming music, or practicing gratitude by writing down 3 things you're thankful for before going to sleep. These routines signal to your brain that it's time to wind down. Let me share with you a story. Margaret, a retired teacher from Ohio, used to dread the 3 a.m. hour. She'd wake up night after night, her thoughts spinning from one worry to the next. Sometimes it was her aching hip, sometimes it was the memory of her late husband, or a stray fear about her health. She tried everything: warm milk, counting sheep, even late-night TV, but nothing seemed to work. Then her granddaughter suggested something simple. Change one thing at a time, and be patient. Margaret started by making her bedroom cozier, then practiced breathing exercises, and gradually, she started falling back asleep more easily. Over time, she found herself not dreading the night but welcoming it as a time for rest, reflection, and even a little hope. Margaret's story isn't unique. Many older adults have found that with a few gentle changes, those dark early hours can become less of a burden and more of a peaceful pause in the night. Remember, it's not about chasing perfect sleep or forcing yourself to follow a strict schedule. It's about giving yourself grace, understanding your body, and embracing the small victories along the way. So, the next time you find yourself awake at 3 a.m., try not to see it as a curse, but as a gentle reminder to care for yourself. Listen to your body, quiet your mind, and know that better sleep is possible, not by fighting your age, but by working with it. And if you ever feel alone in the darkness, remember, countless others are sharing that moment with you, quietly hoping for the dawn. Sleep is a journey, not a destination. With a little patience, self-kindness, and a willingness to try new things, you can rediscover the comfort and restfulness you deserve, no matter how many candles are on your birthday cake. Something is unsettling about waking up in the middle of the night, especially when it happens again and again. If you're like many older adults, you may shrug it off as one of those little annoyances of aging, thinking it's harmless, even normal. But what if this seemingly minor problem is signaling something much deeper? Could those restless hours be quietly undermining not just your nights, but your days, your health, and even your happiness? Let's begin with a familiar scene. You stir at 3 a.m., the world outside still cloaked in darkness. Your home silent except for the ticking of the clock or maybe the distant hum of traffic. You might sit up, rub your eyes, and try to will yourself back to sleep. Perhaps you make your way carefully to the bathroom, or reach for a glass of water, telling yourself, it's just a part of getting older. After all, who hasn't heard friends or family members laugh off their early morning wake-ups? It feels so common, it must be harmless, right? But that's where we need to pause and ask, what if frequent night waking is more than just a nuisance? What if, instead of being a minor inconvenience, it's chipping away at your health, bit by bit, every night? The truth is, good sleep is the foundation of good health, at any age, but especially as we grow older. Our bodies do important repair work while we sleep. Cells regenerate, memories are sorted and stored, and hormones are balanced. When this natural process is interrupted, and sleep becomes fragmented, the effects reach far beyond just feeling tired in the morning. Let's start with what scientists call overall health decline. Fragmented and poor quality sleep isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. Studies from reputable institutions like the CDC and the National Institutes of Health have shown that people who regularly experience interrupted sleep face significantly higher risks of high blood pressure, heart disease, and even stroke. Every time you wake up in the night, your body is jolted out of its rest and repair mode. Over months and years, this repeated disruption can keep your blood pressure elevated, stress your heart, and weaken the arteries that supply your brain and vital organs. The body's internal clock, known as the circadian rhythm, gets confused when your sleep is constantly disturbed. The result? Your heart and blood vessels never truly get the downtime they need to repair and refresh. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer, because you may not feel any symptoms until something serious happens, like a heart attack or stroke. For seniors, who may already have underlying health conditions, this makes night waking far more than an inconvenience. But the dangers of poor sleep reach beyond the heart. Let's talk about memory and mental health. Have you ever noticed how a bad night's sleep leaves you feeling fuzzy-headed or forgetful the next day? Maybe you misplace your keys, lose your train of thought mid-sentence, or feel more irritable than usual. Now imagine what happens when this goes on for weeks, months, or even years. Sleep is the time when your brain organizes new information, stores memories, and clears out waste products that accumulate during the day. When your sleep is repeatedly interrupted, these critical processes get cut short. Over time, Researchers have found that seniors who frequently wake at night are at a much greater risk of developing memory problems, cognitive decline, and even conditions like Alzheimer's disease. The link is so strong that some neurologists call sleep the brain's housekeeper. Without it, the clutter builds up. It's not just about memory, though. Poor sleep is also closely tied to depression and anxiety. The darkness of 3 a.m. can amplify worries, leaving you feeling alone or overwhelmed. Repeatedly waking up at night can sap your emotional strength, making it harder to find joy in daily life. And if you live alone, these quiet hours can feel especially heavy, deepening feelings of isolation. There's another danger that's often overlooked, but can change lives in an instant: falls and injuries. Imagine this. It's pitch dark, your eyes aren't fully adjusted, your body is stiff from lying still, and you're still half asleep as you try to get out of bed. Maybe you need the bathroom, or just want to stretch your legs. In those fragile moments, one misstep is all it takes. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 1 in 4 Americans over age 65 falls each year, and the risk goes up dramatically at night. Nighttime falls are especially hazardous because it's easy to lose your balance when you're sleepy and in the dark. Bones become more brittle as we age, and a fall that might have been a minor mishap decades ago can now mean broken hips, wrists, or worse. Recovery from these injuries can be slow and difficult, sometimes requiring months of rehabilitation. For some seniors, a single fall can mark the beginning of losing independence. But the hidden dangers of waking at 3 a.m. don't stop at the physical. Reduced quality of life is a real and insidious threat. Think about how you feel after a night of broken sleep: tired, sluggish, maybe even a little down. Now imagine if that became your normal. Daytime fatigue creeps in, making it harder to enjoy activities you love, whether it's gardening, meeting friends, or just reading a good book. You may find yourself declining invitations, cutting back on exercise, or simply feeling too tired to pursue your hobbies. This cycle can slowly isolate you, as you withdraw from the world and lose the sense of connection that's so vital for happiness in later years. It's not uncommon for people to report losing interest in things that once brought them joy, not because they don't care, but because they simply don't have the energy. Now, you might be wondering, what can I do about it? Is it too late to make a change? The answer is a resounding no. Understanding the hidden dangers of night waking is the first step toward reclaiming better sleep and a healthier life. Let me tell you about George, a retired postal worker from Kansas. George prided himself on his independence. He still drove to church every Sunday, loved working in his garden, and enjoyed chatting with neighbors on his front porch. But as he entered his 70s, George noticed he was waking up more often at 3 a.m. At first, he laughed it off, blaming old man problems. But after a few months, he found himself feeling groggy every morning. He lost interest in his garden and even skipped his regular coffee group. The tipping point came one night when, feeling disoriented, he tripped over his bedroom rug and sprained his ankle. That fall kept him homebound for weeks, and for the first time, he felt truly old. After that experience, George decided to talk to his doctor. Together, they made a plan. George adjusted his evening routine, used nightlights in the hallway, and joined a seniors walking group during the day to help him sleep better at night. Slowly, he started to feel more alert, his mood improved, and he found himself looking forward to mornings again. The fear of another fall faded, replaced by the quiet confidence that he could still shape his health. George's story isn't rare. All over America, older adults are discovering that small changes can protect them from the hidden dangers of night waking. Maybe it's installing a motion-activated nightlight, creating a relaxing bedtime ritual, or talking openly with family and doctors about sleep struggles. The key is not to ignore the problem or write it off as just old age. Remember, your health matters, your memories matter, and your happiness matters, at every stage of life. Don't let those 3 a.m. wake-ups steal your joy, your independence, or your peace of mind. If you're struggling, reach out to someone. Ask your doctor, talk to friends, or join a support group. You deserve restful nights and bright days ahead. Sleep is not a luxury. It's a pillar of lifelong well-being. Every small step you take toward better sleep is an investment in yourself and in the life you love. So tonight, as you tuck yourself in, know that you're not alone. There's hope, there's help, and there's so much more living to do, one peaceful night at a time. If you're watching this, chances are you know exactly what it feels like to toss and turn at night, staring at the ceiling, wishing sleep would come back. Maybe you've lost count of how many times you've woken up in the dark, your body restless, or your mind filled with thoughts you'd rather postpone until morning. If you're like many older adults, you might sigh and tell yourself, that's just how it is now. After all, who hasn't heard that aging means giving up a good night's sleep? Maybe you joke about it with friends, or exchange stories about who woke up the most last night. It almost seems like a badge of honor for those in their golden years. But what if it doesn't have to be this way? What if, instead of accepting sleepless nights as your new normal, you could reclaim restful sleep, gently, step by step? Would you believe that even small changes can open the door to deeper, more peaceful nights? Too often, we believe big improvements require big effort, but sometimes it's the simplest habits, built into daily life, that make all the difference. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Let's start with something you might not think much about: your evening drinks and bathroom habits. For many seniors, waking up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night is a fact of life. Maybe you tell yourself it's just the price of growing older, or that everyone your age is in the same boat. But here's the thing: your bladder is listening to your habits. If you're drinking lots of water, or even tea, coffee, or juice in the late evening, it's almost guaranteed that your body will need to remind you in the middle of the night. It's a cycle that can quietly erode your sleep, one bathroom trip at a time. So what can you do? First, try limiting how much you drink after 7 p.m. This isn't about cutting fluids altogether. Hydration is important, especially for older adults, but about adjusting the timing. Focus on getting most of your fluids earlier in the day. In the evening, slow down and pay attention to how your body feels. Make a habit of using the bathroom before bed, even if you don't feel the urge. This simple routine can help you make it through the night without those all-too-familiar interruptions. Now, let's talk about your bedroom environment. Have you ever walked into a fancy hotel room and noticed how instantly calm you feel? The lighting is soft, the bedding crisp, the temperature just right. Yet in our own homes, we often overlook these details. But your bedroom can, and should, be your sanctuary. Aim to keep it as quiet, dark, and comfortable as possible. This might mean investing in blackout curtains to keep out streetlights, or using a white noise machine or fan to gently mask outside sounds. Set your thermostat to a cool, comfortable temperature. Studies show that most people sleep best in a room between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If you tend to get cold, keep an extra blanket within reach. The goal isn't perfection, but comfort. Small changes, like keeping clutter off the floor so you don't trip at night, and making sure your sheets feel good against your skin, can have a bigger impact than you think. Of course, even the most peaceful bedroom can't quiet a restless mind. Many people find their thoughts racing at bedtime, worries about family, memories from years ago, or that little voice reminding them of tomorrow's to-do list. The key isn't to force these thoughts away, but to give your mind a gentle landing strip at the end of the day. Consider creating a nightly ritual that soothes both body and spirit. This could be as simple as a few minutes of deep breathing, slowly inhaling through your nose, feeling your chest and belly rise, then exhaling gently through your mouth. Try this for 5 cycles and notice how your heart rate slows, your body relaxes, and your thoughts begin to quiet. Some people enjoy a bit of light meditation, not sitting cross-legged for hours, but simply closing their eyes and noticing their breath or listening to calming music. Others like to play soft instrumental songs or nature sounds, like ocean waves, rainfall, or gentle wind chimes. The important thing is to make these moments about you, a signal to your body and brain that it's time to slow down. Turn off screens at least half an hour before bed. The blue light from TVs, phones, and tablets can trick your brain into thinking it's still daytime, making it harder to wind down. But restful sleep isn't just built at night. It's also crafted during the day through gentle movement and exercise. The image of exercise often brings to mind sweating at the gym or running laps, but that's not what your body needs to sleep well. Instead, think about movement that feels good, like a brisk walk through the neighborhood, a yoga class at the community center, or even a few minutes of gentle stretching at home. Many older adults love Tai Chi, an ancient practice of slow, flowing movements combined with deep breathing. Not only does this help keep your muscles limber and your joints flexible, but it also reduces stress, making it easier for your body to transition to sleep at night. Regular, light exercise helps set your body's internal clock, signaling when it's time to be awake and when it's time to rest. If you're just starting, begin with 10 minutes a day and build up as you feel comfortable. Even short walks, especially if you get outside and feel the sun on your face, can make a difference in both mood and sleep. Still, sometimes sleep problems persist despite your best efforts. When that happens, it's time to talk with your doctor about your medications. Many prescriptions, especially those for high blood pressure, heart disease, or arthritis, can disrupt sleep. Some may act as diuretics, increasing nighttime trips to the bathroom, while others might cause restlessness or vivid dreams. Don't be shy about raising the topic at your next checkup. Your doctor can review your medication schedule, adjust doses, or suggest alternative treatments that may be gentler on your sleep. It's also a good opportunity to discuss whether a sleep aid, prescription or over-the-counter, is right for you. But never start or stop a medication without consulting your healthcare provider. But sleep health is about more than biology. It's about connection, too. Staying socially engaged and sharing your feelings can transform not just your nights, but your days. As we grow older, it's easy to let friendships slip away or retreat into ourselves, especially if we struggle with fatigue or sadness. Yet even the smallest efforts to reach out, calling a friend, joining a book club, volunteering at a local charity, or simply chatting with neighbors, can lift your mood and ease the worries that so often surface at bedtime. Sometimes, simply talking to someone about your struggles with sleep can make them feel lighter. You might be surprised to learn how many people share the same challenges and have their creative solutions. Don't underestimate the power of community. Even a few kind words can be the difference between a night spent worrying and a night spent in peaceful rest. Let me share a story that brings all these pieces together. Meet Jack, a retired firefighter from Michigan. After his wife passed away, Jack's nights became long and lonely. He found himself waking up at all hours, unable to get back to sleep, frustrated and exhausted. He started drinking more coffee to stay awake during the day and stopped joining his morning walking group. The cycle seemed impossible to break. One evening, Jack's daughter gently suggested he try a new approach. They made a plan together. Jack would drink water steadily throughout the day but stop after dinner. He started listening to soft jazz before bed, put up blackout curtains to block the porch light, and began stretching for 5 minutes each night. He reached out to an old friend to meet for coffee once a week, and at his doctor's advice, adjusted the timing of his blood pressure medicine. It didn't all change overnight, but after a few weeks, Jack found he was sleeping longer stretches, waking up feeling a little more like himself, and even looking forward to his walks again. The loneliness faded as his days became fuller, and his nights more peaceful. Jack's story is proof that small, gentle changes can make a big difference, even when you think it's too late. Each of us has the power to shape our sleep, to create an environment and routine that feels good and honors this stage of life. So tonight, as you prepare for bed, remember, restful sleep isn't out of reach. It's made up of 1,000 tiny choices: what you drink, how you move, who you connect with, and how gently you treat yourself. Give yourself the gift of a peaceful environment, a calming ritual, and the knowledge that it's never too late to build new habits. If you wake up in the night, don't scold yourself. Instead, offer yourself the same kindness you'd give a friend. With patience, persistence, and a little creativity, you can rediscover the deep rest that helps you greet each new day with hope and joy. Because sleep is not a luxury, it's a right and a foundation for the life you love. Tonight and every night, you deserve peace, comfort, and the sweet relief of a truly restful sleep. If you've ever found yourself lying awake in the stillness of the early morning, with nothing but the gentle hum of your home and the ticking of the clock for company, you're not alone. Many older adults know the feeling well, the wide-awake, restless hours that stretch between midnight and dawn. Maybe you've even told yourself that it's simply part of getting older, something to be accepted, not challenged. But what if it doesn't have to be this way? What if, buried inside those quiet hours, there's an opportunity for comfort, renewal, and even joy? Mary, a 72-year-old retired librarian living in a small Pennsylvania town, knows that lonely 3 a.m. feeling better than anyone. For years, Mary's nights were marked by a pattern that became all too familiar. She would drift off to sleep, only to find herself suddenly awake at 3 a.m., her mind whirring with worries and her body heavy with fatigue. She would lie in bed, staring into the darkness, sometimes haunted by thoughts of her health, sometimes plagued by anxieties about her grown children, her finances, or memories of her late husband. The more she tried to will herself back to sleep, the more elusive it became. And as the sun rose, Mary felt like she was already behind, dragging herself through the day with a foggy mind and a weary heart. At first, Mary tried to laugh it off. She'd chat with friends at church or during her monthly book club, joking about senior sleep and sharing stories of sleepless nights. It seemed like everyone her age was in the same boat, and there was a certain camaraderie in swapping tales of restless hours and early morning TV shows. But deep down, Mary worried. She saw how the lack of sleep was sapping her energy and joy. She missed tending to her beloved garden, often too tired to prune the roses or kneel in the dirt for long. Invitations from friends were politely declined, replaced by long afternoons dozing on the couch. Her laughter grew quieter, her world smaller. One evening, after a particularly difficult night, Mary sat alone in her kitchen, her favorite mug of chamomile tea growing cold in her hands. She thought about how much her life had changed. How did it come to this? Was this just the way things would be from now on? In that moment, she caught herself, a gentle nudge of curiosity pushing through the resignation. Is this just aging? She wondered. Or could there be another way? That question, simple as it was, changed everything. Mary decided to challenge the idea that poor sleep was inevitable, that feeling tired and anxious was the price of getting older. She reached for answers, not from the late-night commercials promising miracle cures, but from conversations with her doctor, articles in health magazines, and, most importantly, from listening to her own body. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. She learned that her nightly wake-ups were not just senior moments, but were rooted in real, understandable changes happening inside her. As we age, our bodies produce less melatonin, the hormone that signals bedtime to our brains. Sleep cycles shift, and the deep, restorative stages of sleep become harder to reach and easier to disrupt. Health issues common in later life, like high blood pressure, joint pain, and the need to use the bathroom, can all play a role. Even the medications she took for her heart and arthritis were quietly influencing her sleep patterns. And beneath it all, Mary realized how her mind and emotions, her worries, her loneliness, her longing for her late husband, were tangled into those restless hours. This new understanding didn't solve everything overnight, but it opened the door to gentle, realistic change. Mary decided to approach her nights with the same patience and care she brought to her gardening. Instead of expecting instant results, she committed to nurturing her rest, one small step at a time. The first change was surprisingly simple. Mary began to adjust her fluid intake. She had always enjoyed a big glass of water before bed, thinking it was healthy, but now she shifted her habits. drinking most of her water during the day and slowing down after dinner. She also made a point to empty her bladder right before bedtime, hoping to make it through the night with fewer interruptions. Next, she looked around her bedroom. It had been years since she'd updated her space, and now she took small, loving steps to make it feel like a sanctuary again. She added blackout curtains to block the streetlight that always seemed to find her pillow. She replaced her old bedside clock with a quieter, softer-lit version and invested in new sheets that made her bed inviting, even luxurious. With her daughter's help, she cleared away clutter and added a favorite photograph, a family portrait from years ago, filled with smiles and memories. Mary also created a new bedtime ritual. Instead of watching late-night TV or scrolling through her phone, she set aside half an hour to unwind in gentle ways. Some nights, she read a few chapters from a favorite novel, letting the words soothe her. Other evenings, she played a soft playlist of piano and cello music, letting the melodies wash away the day's tension. She even tried a simple breathing exercise she'd read about. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4, over and over until her heart and mind quieted. During the day, Mary made it a goal to move her body, even when she didn't feel like it. She joined a neighborhood walking group, finding camaraderie in shared steps and easy conversation. She discovered a gentle yoga class at the local senior center, where she learned to stretch and breathe and noticed the way her body felt. Stronger, steadier, and more relaxed. On good days, she tended her roses and pulled weeds, delighting in the way the earth felt cool and alive in her hands. Mary didn't stop there. She brought her new awareness to her next doctor's appointment, bravely admitting her sleep struggles and asking whether her medications might be a factor. Her doctor listened carefully and agreed to adjust the timing of her heart medicine, suggesting she take it earlier in the day. They reviewed her prescriptions, making sure none of them caused unnecessary wakefulness at night. One of the most profound changes was Mary's decision to reconnect with people she cared about. She realized how much she missed her friends and how loneliness, like a shadow, had crept into her life as her sleep grew worse. She called her childhood friend Ellen, who lived 2 towns over, and invited her for coffee. She returned to her book club, even on days when she felt tired. With each little act of connection, Mary felt the heaviness inside her begin to lighten. The changes didn't all come at once. Some nights, she still found herself awake at 3 a.m. But when she did, she tried not to panic. Instead of lying in bed worrying, Mary allowed herself to get up, sip a bit of warm milk, and sit by the window. She would breathe deeply, look out at the quiet street, and remind herself that tomorrow was a new day. Over time, she found herself drifting back to sleep more easily, her mind calmer, her heart lighter. Months passed, and the difference was unmistakable, not just to Mary, but to everyone around her. Her laughter returned, softer at first, then fuller and more frequent. She began to say yes to invitations again, lunches with friends, gardening with her granddaughter, even joining a church volunteer group. Her energy blossomed, and so did her confidence. Mary's sleep was still imperfect, but it no longer ruled her life. She felt in control and proud of every small victory. Mary's transformation was not about chasing perfection. She didn't become someone who slept through the night every night, or who never worried. What changed was her relationship with her sleep, her willingness to nurture herself with kindness and curiosity. The very things she once saw as limitations, her age, her health, her vulnerability, became sources of strength and wisdom. If you're listening to this story and see a bit of yourself in Mary, I hope you'll remember, real, positive change is always possible. It doesn't have to come in grand, sweeping gestures. Sometimes, it begins with a simple question: does it have to be this way? Sometimes, it's found in a glass of water shifted to earlier in the day, a favorite song before bed, a gentle walk around the block, or a phone call to an old friend. It's in permitting yourself to care for your needs and honoring the unique journey you're on. You are not alone in your struggles, and you are not powerless in the face of restless nights. Like Mary, you can craft a new story for yourself, one rooted in hope, patience, and the knowledge that every gentle step matters. The path to better sleep is not always easy or direct, but it is yours to walk at your own pace, in your way. So tonight, as you prepare for bed, let Mary's story remind you that peace is possible. No matter how many years you've lived, no matter how many times you've woken in the darkness, you have the right and the ability to seek rest, renewal, and joy. The night may be long, but the dawn is always waiting. With each new day, you can choose again, to nurture yourself, to reach out, to try one more gentle change. There is comfort ahead, and a world of bright mornings waiting just beyond the quiet hours. You are worthy of restful sleep, and the simple, powerful hope of a life lived wide awake. As we come to the end of this journey together, I hope you're leaving with more than just facts and tips. I hope you're carrying a sense of hope, encouragement, and the gentle reminder that you are not alone in your struggles. Waking up at 3 a.m., feeling restless or worried, is an experience shared by so many, yet it doesn't have to define your nights or your days. Just like Mary's story shows us, even small, thoughtful changes can bring back comfort, energy, and joy to your life. Remember, your well-being is worth every bit of care and attention. Sometimes, the biggest shifts begin with the smallest steps: a glass of water moved earlier in the day, a soft song at bedtime, a walk with a friend, or a simple moment spent breathing deeply. There is no right way to improve your sleep, only the way that feels gentle and true for you. What matters most is permitting yourself to try, to nurture your body and mind, and to reach out when you need connection or support. Growing older brings changes, but it also brings wisdom, resilience, and a unique perspective that's worth celebrating. Each day is a new opportunity to care for yourself and to rediscover what brings you peace and happiness. Thank you for spending this time with me and for being part of a community that values health, hope, and compassion. If Mary's story or any part of this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more stories and advice created just for you. Wishing you restful nights and bright mornings ahead. You truly deserve them.